Welcome to the Chic Show. If you're looking to spruce up the heart of your home, I have some DIY decor ideas for the kitchen. Today's playlist is hosted by these lovely ladies at the Talented Creators Collaboration. I'll have their channels along with the playlist listed in the description box below. For this first DIY, I'm going to be using one of these cutting boards that I got on clearance at Dollar General. It did have a fall print at the top, and I painted over the top of that with some chalk paint in white. Now I'm using some of these wall decals from Dollar Tree. I put them on there one way and they didn't really fit, so now I'm switching them around. Now that those decals are in place, I'm going to be using this napkin that I got at TJ Maxx. I'm going to separate the plies, and I'm just going to use that top ply on the top of that cutting board. I'm going to apply some Mod Podge, and then I'm going to let that dry completely. Now that Mod Podge is dry, I'm going to place my napkin down. I'm also going to cover it with a Teflon sheet, and I'm going to use my little mini iron to reactivate that Mod Podge and allow that napkin to stick. I should have lined up that napkin along the bottom of that chalk paint. I don't know why I didn't, but anyway, I'm going to cut away the excess on this part of the cutting board, and then I'm going to use my finger sander to sand around the edges. I used a craft knife to cut away the napkin in the hole of the cutting board. And once this is complete, I'm going to give the napkin another coat of Mod Podge. Now I'm going to reattach that leather piece at the top, and this cutting board is ready to be displayed. This is a quick and easy DIY decor idea for the kitchen, and you can also remove those decals if I get tired of those. For this project, I'm going to be using some of these wood cutlery sets from Dollar Tree. I'm going to need 1 fork, 1 spoon, and 1 knife. I tried to sand off the design just a little bit so that I could go ahead and stain these pieces with some Waverly antique wax. I arranged my pieces as you see here, and I used some Titebond Quick and Thick to glue them together. I also used just a dab of hot glue. Using my peg stamps, I stamped the word yum onto the spoon. Doesn't show up quite as well as I would like it, but it will have to do. I saw something like this at Hobby Lobby and thought I needed to recreate it. I'm going to add this gingham ribbon, and then we can move on to the next part. Sign you're going to see next, I did thrift at a thrift store. It was an Easter sign, and the colors around the edge were just a natural wood, and the middle had an Easter design on it. The yellow part that you see was original to the piece. So I went around with black chalk paint and painted the edge. I love the scalloped edge, and I used white chalk paint for the center. Now I'm using some of my IOD stamps to stamp on a phrase. Get a glimpse here of my crafty little helper. tuned to the end for another sneak peek of this sweet little crafter. Now that I have my phrase completely stamped, I'm going to glue on these utensils. I got this on clearance at Hobby Lobby for 16 cents. Actually, it was a package of 2 for 16 cents. I pried off the apple, which just popped right off, and I'm going to be painting and using some scrapbook paper. But before I apply it, I am going to give it a coat of white chalk paint. Once the paint had dried, I'm just using a simple school glue stick to apply the scrapbook paper to the front of the cup. I trimmed away most of the excess paper, and then I went back with a finger sander and sanded off the edges to get a clean look. Apparently did not hit record, but I did print out a little label on this pink polka dot paper to add to my cup. Here you can see it. It says Honey Bunny Coffee Co. I want to add a little bit more glitter to the top, so I'm using some Mod Podge and I'm just rubbing that on with my finger, and then I'll sprinkle on some iridescent glitter as well as some pink glitter. A budget-friendly little addition to your coffee bar for mere pennies. Project is using one of these signs from Dollar General, but I bought this just a few weeks ago, so I got it for less than $1, so I did not pay $5 for it. I'm going to pull off this outside part, and I had trouble getting it off, so I did end up having to soak it off with some wet paper towels. While we wait for that paper to soften up so that I can remove it, I'm going to be using the back side of this rolling pin. This is off of a sign from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to paint the handles in Truffle by Waverly. For the center part of the rolling pin, I'm going to be using Waverly chalk paint and ink. Now back to those handles. I'm going to be using a little bit of white chalk paint to dry brush onto the handles to give them more of a wood look. I also went back with some Waverly Antique wax and dry brushed on top of the white. Now to cover the sign, I'm using some scrapbook paper, and of course it didn't fit exactly, so I tried to line it up as best I could, and there is a bit of a seam there, but that's just going to have to be okay. I did glue the paper in, and now I'm going to go back and add the rolling pin. And I did use hot glue for both the paper and the rolling pin. Now that the rolling pin is in place, I'm going to add one of these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree. My first instinct was to add it to the bottom left, and then I tried the middle, I tried the right side, but I went with the bottom left. Lastly, I went over the edges with my finger sander and also a little bit onto the rolling pin and the transfer as well, just to give it kind of a rustic look. I really like this piece. Be sure and let me know what you think down in the comments. The next project is using these tin cans that I thrifted, and actually I ended up only using the two taller ones because the shorter one had some raised parts that were not going to work with what I had planned. So I took them outside, I gave them a coat of white paint in a matte finish. Now I'm using some painter's tape to tape off a line. I'm going to do this on both canisters and just paint Waverly chalk paint in ink all the way around. Also use some chalk paint around the top rim of the can. Now I'm using some of Dollar Tree's Rub-On Transfer letters to put words onto the canister. Both of them are going to be French. One is going to be French for coffee and one's going to be French for sugar. I think these are so cute so far. I'm going to add some knobs to the top, just using these little wood pieces that I thrifted. They're little barrels. I'm going to use some antique wax to stain them and then just hot glue those to the top of the canisters. I think this is my favorite neutral home decor idea today. Special thanks to Aria, Katie, Lisa, and Loli for hosting today's challenge. Make sure to check out the description box below to find their information along with the playlist. Give me that thumbs up if you've seen anything you like today, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. And here's the cuteness that I promised you. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.